Hello and welcome to a rather special Sunday repeated on Wednesday program, and this is
the Mojo Hand, the winning boys magic.
Marge, this ticket doesn't just give me a seat. It also gives me the right, no, the duty to make a complete ass of myself.
But as for me, I'm off to battle aliens on a faraway planet.
Hello, operator, give me the number for 911.
Who sent you here? Can't talk, little man? Bet can't play none either.
I can pull a better cartoon out of my ear. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kid?
Oh, bitch.
Kill my boss! Do I dare live out the American dream?
Overload. Pleasure overload.
Uh-oh, doing the thought I learned in one day.
Good morning, Wood Ticks and Patriots. Welcome to the Just Jim Show. We have lots to talk about today. Welcome to Lake Wish I Be Gone in the bunker, bringing you the best of local news, regional news, state news, and U.S. news, and village idiots. And boy, we have a chock-full program today. Village idiots all around. Court jesters just Got to remind you, this is not a child-friendly show. Every once in a while, we've been known to swear like a drunken sailor, even though I'm not a sailor. Well, but I do like water. We had storms come through last night, and I don't think they sunk the Titanic, my little fishing rig. But hey, I saw it listing this morning through the fog. It was kind of eerie. I thought maybe we were going to get attacked by zombies or something. Hey, we're going to jump right into it today. We got data breaches. Oh, man. And I'll tell you, this stuff is happening all over the place. Hey, The View goes offshore and makes some insane demands. Remember the Dixie Chicks. We'll talk about them, too. There's a drag queen who works as a youth counselor, charged with 25 counts of child pornography. New York, the courts are starting to wake up a little bit. New York State strikes down the New York's non-citizen voting law. Remember when that happened? You probably all mumbled to yourself. Uh-huh. Oh, and Sniffin' Joe, his son, got thousands of dollars. It's that old laptop coming back to haunt him. Elizabeth Warren, wait till you see what she is demanding the government do. Oh, yeah, I got a story on that one. Amazon employees are demanding action. Really? That's interesting. School district charges students for FOIA requests. Wait till you hear that one. You want to talk about local elections? You better find out who's on your school board and your administration, because that stuff's going on all over the place, even with yours truly. And a state senator waving the flag of, oh, I did that. Wait a minute. Here, right here. I did that. It's a Republican conservative state senator. Wait till you see what she did. And with that, I'll be right back. See you in a second. And welcome back. We're going to get right into it today. We have stories upon stories because we only do, this is the Sunday repeated Wednesday show for the Just Jim Show. Anyway, and pretty soon we'll have our what do you call it up? God, I can't even think today. Whatever. Anyway, back in December of 2021, right, just a couple of days ago, we had a data breach which exposed 1.5 million Social Security numbers. Your number, my number, don't know. And they're not going to tell you real quick either. Anyway, if you got news, send it to, hang on, I just took it off, news@thejustjimshow.com. We'd be happy to take on the info, maybe report about it, and leave your name and number. We will include it. But anyway, in December of 2021, there was a data breach of $1.5 million Social Security numbers. Things like your Social Security, social media accounts are precious to cyber criminals. Of course they are. I want all of your email addresses. Trust me, I do. Here's the backstory. Flagstar Bank is one of the largest mortgage lenders in the country and has over 150 branches. According to the data breach notification sent to the Office of the Maine Attorney General, the hack occurred early December 2021. It reveals that Flagstar Bank didn't discover the breach until June 2nd of 2022. Why, that was just the other day. Over 1.5 million people were affected, including 1,028 Maine residents. In addition, it took the bank 2 weeks to wrap up an investigation before sending notices to the affected customers. Can you imagine? You know about something, but you don't tell anybody because you're investigating it. Where's your IT people, folks? Obviously not on call. The bank stressed that there's no evidence, quote unquote, of hackers misusing the data. You wouldn't know it anyway. Took you 6 months to find out they were hacked. But out of abundance of caution, they'll offer 2 years of identity monitoring through Kroll. What can you do about it? Credit identity monitoring is a great option, but when hackers expose your Social Security number and name, you must take steps yourself. You betcha. I'm a certified internet security kind of guy. You betcha. We used to offer all our customers that option. Even though the hack took place more than 6 months ago, you might want to freeze your credit. It won't affect your credit score, and it makes it more difficult for scammers and criminals to open new credit accounts in your name. Here's how to freeze your account through the three major credit people: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Go to Experian to visit the Security Freeze webpage. From there, you can log into your account, fill in the details. And if you have a problem, call 1-888-EXPERIEN, 397-3742, or you can submit your request in writing. It will remain in effect until you, the caller, cancel it. Equifax has a similar process to Experian, and you can easily go to Equifax Security Freeze. And if you need help, you can call them at 866-478-0027 for free. And you can put a 1-year freeze on your account, your credit report. Navigate to TransUnion to the credit freeze and click Add a Freeze. You'll be prompted to create an account or log in, fill in your details. TransUnion will take care of the rest. If you have a problem, call 1-888-909-8872. Those numbers I don't have on the screen. Sorry, but I should have. My bad. Go check out the story. It's it'll be coupled with this story. Well, throw that one on the side. If you have news, send it to news@thejustjimshow.com. Over at the Dose of Reality Network. We'd be glad to take a look at it and see if it's going to hit the airwaves. And let's see, we have another story here. I kind of took these out of order because most of these are all interconnected, these stories, but we just kind of threw them all together today. Do you remember a country group that was enamored called the Dixie Chicks? Do you remember that group? Them and Toby Keith had a back and forth kind of thing going on for the longest time. The long and short of it is, when you come down to the nitty gritty of it, was that they went offshore. They went out of the country, and then they blah, 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 blah. Oh, you shouldn't have done this, Mr. President. You want to know what happened? I'm not going to say it, but hey, Toby got up on his guitar stage, called him out on it. Now, Whoopi and The View leave the continental U.S. Where are they? Philippines or wherever they are doing their show nowadays, but it ain't in the United States. And then, of course, they get cojones, and they decide that in Whoopi's unimaginable intelligence, that they're going to get together and gang up on Clarence Thomas with an insane racist message. Yeah, I'm saying it. People over at the Blaze are saying it. Absolutely. Whoopi Goldberg, co-host. I thought she got thrown. I thought she got retired, but I guess not. Co-host of The View reacted to the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade by issuing an overtly racist threat towards Justice Clarence Thomas, who is black. So I guess Whoopi was in the right genre, being black herself, and decided to say, oh, we're going to get you, about his marriage to his wife, Gina, who is white. Now, this is totally off track. But how about the mayor in Illinois, Chicago? She's married to a white wife, Anna. So why isn't Whoopi on that one? I don't know. Quote unquote, you better hope that they don't come for you, Clarence, and say you should not be married to your wife who happens to be white. And this is on the airwaves of networks. You want to know why you don't need to go home and watch TV? Right here. This is the crap. Now the shit. There's a quarter that goes on in network TV. Why would you even turn that? Who's got an antenna on their roof anymore to listen to this stuff? They will move back, and you better hope that nobody says, well, you're not in the Constitution. You're back to being a quarter of a person, she added. You better hope that they don't come, Clarence. What? Where does anyone in their right mind come up with this kind of thinking, let alone the cojones to say it on national television? Although you're out of the country, just like the Dixie Chicks were. You think that since you're not there, you can blah, 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 and badmouth anyone. Trust me, it's going to come back to haunt you, Whoopi. On the Rubin Report, Blaze TV host David Rubin reviewed some of the most insane reactions to the overturning of, I guess it overturned Roe v. Wade, but not really. Whoa, in the article they talk about Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who have gotten more than a little bit extreme in their rhetoric. Yeah, the good old Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called for a Supreme Court impeachment. What the? Lordy, good Lord above. Does this make any sense? There's also actor Sam Jackson, who, like Goldberg, resorted to calling Justice Clarence Thomas a racial slur over the court's decision. And, of course, our neighbors to the north. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau expressed horror at the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But an old tweet of his reveals that he had been disturbed by some of the rhetoric of pro-choice activists. Bill Maher from HBO tore into the Democrats for fumbling the abortion issue, which should have been an easy win for the party that claims to defend women's rights. Wait, hang on. here we go. You know me, I always have a couple of these sitting around. It's called the Constitution of the United States of America. And guess what? Women's reproductive rights. You want one of these? I'll send it to you. Free of charge. Send it to news. Here, go ahead. Request news@thejustjimshow.com. I will send you one of these little Constitution books. And you can read it and find, if you find it in here, I will do a whole show based on what you think you found in here. Got tons of them over here. Hey, excuse me. And you know that if you get to know the right people, you can get those for free yourself. And finally, the worst take possible goes to Goldberg's co-host of You, Anna Navarro, who used her disabled relatives as an example to defend abortion after she was challenged about her Catholic faith. We talked about the Catholic faith, Joe Biden receiving communion and sacraments, and hobnobbing with the Pope. If you didn't catch that show, maybe you ought to go back in the archives and watch that show. Her comments have been interpreted by many as an argument for killing people with mental disabilities. I listened to some of those comments, one of the other shows, and I could not believe what I heard. I could not. That this shouldn't have ever been left to fruition. I don't get that rationale, but guess what? Along with many other people, we're going to talk in a little bit about the use of the English language. It is very specific. It is very definitive. And you choose your words, especially when you're writing law or words that enact a law. You're not going to want to miss that segment later in the show. Here we go. One ringy dingy. Yeah. There's a drag queen. There's a video along with this. At first I was going to show it, and I thought, no, I'm not going to waste your time. It is not worth watching. My eyes have been wounded permanently. Pennsylvania drag queen who counseled children at a quote-unquote safe haven for LGBTXYZWAO whatever plus youth has been charged with 25 counts of child pornography, according to the reports filed. A criminal docket issued last week's shows Bryce Patrick Ryshawn Williams was charged with 25 counts of child pornography and 1 count of criminal use of a communication facility. Do you know? I keep getting email messages. Yeah, right. Okay, it's okay. What is a communication facility? Is that a radio station, a TV station, a quote-unquote safe haven? They use this report comes around and says that it's a safe haven for LGBTQ plus youth. Now, they're minors, and we can have this discussion over and over and over again, and guess what? Anybody who is a minor is possibly just misoriented, has a true north or orientation problem. It's a minor, and minors are excluded from many portions of the law, which obviously this Yutz doesn't know. The sexually explicit content found in Williams' possession includes 49 photos and 25 videos of naked prepubescent boys. The images show genitalia and boys performing sex acts, in some cases with an adult man. And this is whom the left, the libtards, have promoted to a position of power and influence. And that runs across the board in anything from social PhDs, psychiatrists. Another story I did about 10 years ago. The war between the psychologists and the psychiatrists. And who gets to issue drugs? In what category? That was I thought that was a good show. Because I'll go off topic here. Because psychologists used to be the only people who could diagnose ADHD and or this, that, and the other thing. Had to send them to a doctor to get drugs issued to try and control or challenge the condition that they seem. Well, psychiatrists felt since they can write prescriptions for drugs, that they needed to bring that disease into their quorum and have nothing left for the psychologists. There was a war of the worlds going on there. You didn't even know it. I'll guarantee you didn't. But go back somewhere 2010, 2013, somewhere in there, I did that show. And in addition to performing as a drag queen by the name of Anastasia Diamond, God, oh Lordy, as a byline, not good, bad, or indifferent, this Anastasia has to be 350, 400 pounds. Just saying, good, bad, or indifferent. Maybe there's a thyroid problem. Williams is an HIV medical case manager at a local health center, and last year joined the GLO Harrisburg, a center that offers a safe haven for LGBTQ youth of color. Is that racist? Youth of color. Not just youth of color. In Pennsylvania, Williams was awarded the LGBT Center of Central PA Rising Star Award in 2020. If that doesn't enable somebody to go act the fool, quote unquote, I feel as though this is so important because I know there are little kids like me who are queer, who are black, who are still not able to look up at anyone. So that's the reason why I got into this line of work. I wanted to make a big impact for folks in my community. Williams told a local Pennsylvania news outlet last year. A video clip posted on Instagram appears to show Williams performing for children in 2017. And I don't know that it was the children one, but I saw it and I can't unsee it. And what parent takes their child to a drag show, you ask? That's exactly what Blaze TV host Allie Stuckey wanted to know after learning that a bar in Dallas, Texas hosted a drag show geared especially for kids. You remember that? You know, if you saw that show or not. But there was some straightforward confrontation about what are you doing with your child? You know, and the one thing that falls on deaf ears or just gets muted is Hillary baby. Years ago, with Agenda 21, she started this whole thing. It takes a village to raise a child. And then when the village doesn't necessarily care for what you're doing with a child, you just blow it off. Oh, this is fine. I got a little one. And they need to go in and watch this show. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled whatever. But this should be criminalized. This should be illegal. You know, and every Republican, I won't even say, let's toss the Republican Democrat thing out the door. Any normal human being should know that this is wrong at such a core level. Yes, adults have the freedom to do what they want. So be it. Go do it, hang out, do whatever the heck it is you want to do. Do not wave your freak flag down the road. And we had this discussion the other day. I remember back in the 60s, Everybody was marching around, waving the power, fist power to the people, the whole 9 yards. I get that, which is part of American, truly is part of the American heritage and the way of life. The ability to protest and try to muster opinion, public opinion, so that you can change laws. But wait a minute, laws. Remember the little book I showed you before, Constitution. You don't like a law, you don't like an amendment to the Constitution, muster public opinion and learn how to change a law. That is the process by which this great country was built and fluxes from idea to idea, from sanity to insanity. I can't say anything plainer. Learn the process, even at the local level. Figure it out. What does it take to change a law? Go do that. You don't have to lay down on an expressway and block traffic, which is a federal violation of the Interstate Commerce Act. But hey, it should be illegal. Democrat, Republican, you should know the difference between right and wrong. You say you know right, but then you ignore wrong. Good, evil. You can't have one without the other. It just doesn't work that way. And with that, we have a state Supreme Court law overturned. New York. Love that town. State court strikes down New York's non-citizen voting law. And this falls in that category of connected to a couple of different stories. The English language, it is, I said it before, I'll say it again. I will keep saying it until you wake up. No, don't get woke. Get waking up. Yeah, waking up. English language, right? English language. It's specific. It's precise. When you write a law, you damn well better have the English language correct. We're going to talk about that later. A New York court struck down New York's non-citizen voting law Monday. What type of village idiots think that somebody who ain't a citizen here, I'm going to keep referring to this little book, that this is what governs us citizens. But what exactly is it that thinks that somebody in Botswana gets to vote in an American election? You want to talk about treasonous acts? That thinking, talk about red flag laws and gun ownership and usage. That thinking right there is a red flag wannabe. What village idiot thinks that somebody from Botswana who just happens to have an airfare ticket can come over here and vote? You're not part of the process. You don't belong here. Become a citizen, vote, do your constitutional duty. The New York Constitution explicitly lays the foundation for ascertaining that only proper citizens retain the right to voter privileges. Judge Ralph Rorzio wrote, "It is this court's belief that by not expressly including non-citizens in the New York State Constitution, it was the intent of the framers for non-citizens to be omitted." Is there a thread of logic there by a judiciary? Most likely a supreme thread of logic. Based on the foregoing analysis, the court finds that municipal voting law explicitly violates New York State's Constitution, as only citizens, quote unquote, may vote in elections. The back part of this is that was in last December, New York City Council, and they should immediately be removed from the city council. New elections should be held, and people that have some sensibility be placed. And sensibility runs the gamut on both sides. But you come up with this kind of language, Last December, New York City Council passed a law extending the right to vote in local elections to non-citizen immigrants who live, work, and pay taxes in New York. Democratic state officials and immigration activists celebrated the law like they would. Same as this last guy and that drag queen. Democratic state official, which expected to enfranchise more than 800,000 new voters beginning in 2023. Do you ever notice when the village idiots speak, they give themselves a buffer timeline, which if this isn't good, it was written in 2021, goes to 2023 to become effective, gives time for the courts to rule on their idiocy. And obviously, it was struck down, rightfully so. The municipal voting law, impermissible, quote unquote, simply and solely for the reason that the Constitution says it cannot be done. I can go on and on and on. The decision welcomed by the Republican Party and New York Chairman Nick Langworthy. This is another victory for citizens' right, election integrity, and the rule of law. You know, it's funny, we jokingly drive around in our community. Speeding, oh, that's just a suggestion. Yeah, 35 miles an hour, that's just a suggestion. Drive however you want. The lanes that are painted on the road, that it's just a suggestion. Wander around, go wherever you want to go. Right here, it's just a suggestion. It's the law. You don't like the law, do not do a village idiot insanity attempt to change the law. New York City State Supreme Court is the trial level court, which means New York City may still attempt to appeal this decision all the way up to the New York Court of Appeals, its highest court. How's that working out for you? Yeah. I don't think so. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back on the Just Jim Show on the Dose of Reality TV network. Welcome back. You're listening to the Just Jim Show. Hey, it's Just Jim. Just a thought. And the truth. You got something to tell us, send in news@thejustjimshow.com. We'll consider taking a look at it and seeing what deserves and doesn't deserve. And it's funny because I put some really stupid shit on here. Another quarter. I'll explain that to you someday. Keep listening. Oh, yeah, here. Make sure you like and subscribe over on YouTube. I don't know who knows. Oh, look at that mess. That's for my co-host who isn't here at the moment. That's right. Anyway. Yeah. Do you ever get a gift that keeps giving and giving and giving and you just never know when it's going to end? Right here. Here's one for you. The so-called laptop from hell. has revealed yet again that some of Hunter Biden's expensive hedonistic pursuits were funded by President Joe Biden. Good old Sniffin' Joe. According to data uncovered in a laptop. Oh, uncovered in a laptop. We're talking forensics investigations. Hunter Biden received tens of thousands of dollars from his father. That would be Sniffin' Joe. In a very short amount of time. Andrew Kerr and Jerry Dunleavy report for the Washington Examiner that Joe Biden, Sniffin' Joe, wired son Hunter, the coke buddy, a total of $100,000. You got that? What is that? 6 zeros? $100,000 to help pay Hunter bills from December 2018 through January 2019. Though Hunter sought the money under legitimate pretenses, he often spent much of it on Russian escorts, records show. So it's in the desktop, in the laptop from hell. Kerr and Dunleavy are careful to note that Joe Biden funded these escort enterprises unwittingly, quote unquote, and that nothing uncovered on the laptop would suggest that Joe Biden was aware of his son's activities. However, Hunter's predictable pattern of behavior, broken promises, fights with his other family members regarding money, and the fact that banking institutions had to block some of his financial activities should have given Joe Biden cause for concern. Yes, according to the report, Hunter Biden sought escort service from Uber GFE, a nebulous entity that listed apparent locations in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Kiev. As recently as 2016, Uber GFE is not registered anywhere in the USA. Among various transactions documented on the laptop between Hunter Biden and Uber GFE is a particularly unsettling incident between Hunter and an unidentified escort in January of 2019. That was just a couple of months ago. Hunter apparently paid Eva, his Uber GFE contact, $5,000 for 8 hours with the young escort. He then contacted Eva to extend his time with the escort to 16 hours. He doubled down. You know, in playing poker, you double down. For 16 hours, but was unable to cover the $10,000 price tag on his own. Records show that Joe Biden wired his son $5,000 an hour and a half after Hunter negotiated with Eva for extended time. Richard Ruffner, who was an assistant to Joe Biden at the time, then texted Hunter shortly thereafter to apologize that Joe Biden was only able to send $5,000 because his weekly limit is $7,500. $7,500 a week for escorts? I am in the wrong business. I'm also happily married. Hunter also filmed a brief encounter with the escort. On the film, Hunter repeatedly asked the young woman, who speaks little English, whether she is at all hurt. He also warns her that she cannot, talk to him that way and say things like that, end quote, though what she allegedly said is never made clear. Other data from the laptop demonstrates several banking institutions blocked some Hunter's attempted financial transactions. Hunter texted Eva in February 2019 to tell her that he could not send money to entities with a Russian email address because those were a red flag that forced banks to freeze his accounts. Oh, no. Hunter also solicited his father for tens of thousands of dollars for alimony, child support in December 2018. 75 being wired. Joe Biden texted his son in response. 75 what? 7,500? 75,000? 2 months later, Hunter requested and was granted $20,000 for a drug rehab program, a program in which Hunter ultimately never enrolled. Although Kerr and Dunleavy insisted Joe Biden was unaware of the true purpose of the exorbitant loans to his son, former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy is much more skeptical. You and I both know the laptop exists, the hard drive exists, and the Biden apologists were suppressing in the weeks before the 2020 elections. There were conversations going on all over the place regarding those transactions. And with that in mind, we have a silent little mosquito buzzing around again. Bzz, 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 bzz. Yes, Elizabeth Warren is making demands and being echoed by Alexandria Cortez. These Democrats in New York, I'm telling you, man, they got some screws loose. A story right there. Elizabeth Warren demands, my comment, that the mosquito return her Native American blood. Excuse me. That was funny. Elizabeth Warren demands government erect abortion clinics in national parks. Wait a minute. This is it. This is the story of the hour. Senator Elizabeth Warren wants to use America's beautiful national park to erect abortion clinics. What did Warren say? Speaking with the Washington Post reporter on Monday, Warren said the federal government, presumably using tax dollars, should establish abortion mills in national parks after the overturn of Roe v. Wade. They could put up tents, have trained personnel, and be there to help people who need it, Warren said. It's time to declare a medical emergency. We're talking a presidential mandate. Or wait, that's Fukuyama. Dr. Fukuyama needs to declare a medical emergency. Yes. The suggestion comes as Democrats look to bolster abortion services in a post-Roe world. In this interview this week, Warren suggested that President Biden should take action to make abortion as available as possible with the tools he has, including medication abortion, including using federal lands as a place where abortions can occur. Now, this is a legislator that has made it somehow to national prominence. And I can just see her skinny little self. I can just see it. And I'm sorry. But
Hello, operator. Give me the number for 911.
it's about as intelligent as Elizabeth Warren is. And Maxine Waters. Not much better. I think it's most important right now is that we ensure that restrictions that the states are trying to put up would prohibit a woman from exercising what we still maintain is her right. I've said this before right here. Find it in the book. You don't have to worry about the good book. Just find it in this book right here. This is what we're living under. Yeah. Let me. I'll play the motivation music for these people because this must be what they're doing. They're sloths in the night. Excuse me. We still maintain a right that we do everything we can to empower women to not only seek but receive the care where it is available, she told CNN. When CNN host Dana Bash asked her whether federal land is one of those options, Harris replied, I mean, it's not right now that we're discussing. Well, we're not discussing anything. You're coming, you pulled something out of your rear end. Meanwhile, a senior white official told the Washington Post that Biden cannot act unilaterally to legalize abortion. Well, it's called a mandate, just like the masks and the poke and the this and the that this jackbooted thug thinks he can do. There's a major problem with Warren's plan to use federal lands for abortion. The Hyde Amendment. That's not the hide something away. Excuse me, HYDE, Hyde Amendment. The Hyde Amendment is a provision of federal law that limits the federal government's ability to spend federal money on abortions, except in limited cases of rape, incest, or where necessary to save the life and health of the mother. So one possible thing the Supreme Court might do is say, actually, the federal government can't do any of this because they're spending money in violation of the Hyde Amendment. Fox, however, noted the federal government could circumvent Hyde Amendment by allowing clinics to establish clinics on federal land. I cannot believe that anybody is entertaining this. The English language here, that is for what? Still, even this would be legally questionable. You're damn right it would be. Spend money on parks for RVers and hikers and bikers to use and enjoy the beauty of it. Let's throw out some aborted baby body parts here. Let's just dump them on the federal grounds. In the trailer parks, so we can see it when we pull into the Fed. That sounds about the right mentality of people. And with that, another news flash out of the SCOTUS ruling. I can't believe these people. I guess I can, but I can't. Hey, get out of there. Amazon employees demand action against a SCOTUS abortion ruling. Quote, Amazon cannot let this decision go unanswered. I tell you, in an open letter, which has been leaked to the public, just like the SCOTUS decision. Lordy. These employees make several demands on Amazon executives that they will restore the basic human right of unrestricted abortion access. The White House is calling. The White House is calling in. I tell you, I love it. We rattle the right cages. Sniffin' Joe is calling in. I love it. Though some of the demands are predictable, denouncing the decision publicly, organized company-sponsored protests, fund organizations, and working to expand abortion access. Others seem less concerned with the cause itself and more interested in diminishing executive power in favor of organized labor. And if you ever want to talk about organized labor, I got stories that'll curl your toenails. Been there, done that, represented, organized, blah, blah. For example, the letter asked that the company to grant all employees, quote, the space and time to grieve. Grieve for what? Killing your baby? Express their frustrations and protest against this assault on our rights. Wait a minute. I'll say yet again, Amazon, here you go. Here's the book. Discard the good book, but read this one. You find it in there, we'll have another discussion. You can call in just like Sniffin' Joe did. Doesn't matter to me. It also asks Amazon to expand remote work options to allow employees the option to relocate to states which will permit continued abortion access and to cease operations in states that enact abortion restrictions. Well, they kind of sort of learned the lesson. Follow the money and you'll get results. The letter also calls Amazon to conduct a massive audit to make sure that none of its hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue go towards supporting pro-life causes and to censor inventory so that customers have action only to pro-abortion materials and sellers. Let's see. That would fall under the RICO laws. If, in fact, you have a clue what a RICO law is. By making such stiff demands, the letter co-signers have sensed an opportunity to gain greater leverage with Amazon executives. Should Amazon accede or to some or all the demands made in the letter, assignees would demonstrate greater collective bargaining power and benefit the pro-abortion movement at the same time. No, you would be, I hope, by the Department of Justice, prosecuted under RICO violations. Despite any other ulterior motives they may have, though, the letter signees have expressed a sense of urgency regarding the abortion issue. Blah, 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 blah. As this writing, Amazon has not reacted publicly to the Dobbs decision, either via social media or public statement, nor has it responded to this letter. But it got leaked, so we know what's going on, don't we? And with that, I'm going to say, hey, don't forget tomorrow night, there is a free showing in northern Wisconsin, Eagle River, Wisconsin. Somebody sent me an email where the 2000 Mules movie is going to be shown at a place called The Rock in Eagle River. If you haven't seen it yet, why don't you, and you're in the neighborhood, why don't you go on up there and check it out? And it's funny, after I watched it, I gave a link to somebody to go watch the thing. And the only reply that I got, believe it or not, was, well, the Republicans do it too. The 2000 Mules, well, I suppose it says Democrats, but doesn't matter. The action itself, the act itself of stuffing ballot boxes, the way that this movie shows, great show, D'Souza, is exactly the thing that the Department of Justice should be investigating and prosecuting. But I'm gonna become remiss. I got to move on. I got so much. There is so much crap going on out there. That's a quarter. Well, it's not, but it is. Oh, God. Here's a story that has the ramifications of village idiots, or two, I should say, the ramifications to village idiots that decide to use minors, little kiddies, to push their agenda. Young kids at a pro-abortion rally get a rude surprise as cheering naked bicyclists join the ranks. What's up with that? During a protest in L.A., California, over Supreme Court's decision, there was a pro-abortion protesters, including families with very young children, were surprised to cross paths with a group of completely nude bicyclists celebrating World Naked Bike Ride Day. According to their website, World Naked Bike Ride, WNBR, not let it be confused with WNBA, is a global grassroots movement that champions a medley of worthy causes, from, quote, exposing the unique dangers faced by cyclists, end quote, to promoting body acceptance and combating climate change. They're just angry birds. Apparently, they are also on board with the pro-abortion movement. Video posted on Twitter shows young children walking with their parents as a band of merry men and women with everything, including their genitalia, on display. Joined the cheering pro-abortion protest. Oh, Lordy. You can't make this stuff up, can you? And with that, we're going to jump right over this. I got to get this off. There you go. Here's a Independence, Missouri. Coming out of Missouri, you would think that this would not be happening. And the only reason it is happening is because libtards and village idiots have gotten elected or appointed to powers and positions of not power, but authority. The power isn't there. The authority is. Independence, Missouri. During the last week of school, students from the media group at William Chrisman High School say they were trying to get public information regarding teacher shortages. And I just caught a news clip last night about local teacher shortages. We can't get teachers. I'm going to say this and mark my words. The teachers you're going to get right now ain't worth the powder to blow them away. They may be credentialed, but I'm going to tell you, you don't want them teaching your kids. Not the vetting process is not adequate in any way, shape, or form. They were trying to get public information regarding teacher shortages within the Independent School District through the Sunshine Law. That's FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests. Sunshine Law is a regulation requiring transparency and disclosure in government or businesses. The information requested included the names, positions, salaries, and links of service for officers and employees in the district from 2020 to 2022. All final decisions to hire, fire, promote, or discipline any and all district employees and administrators, and more. Excuse me. However, the students say the district had decided to withhold the information until the students paid for their request. Illegal, which totaled more than $300. In response to the fee, student Eden Winkler created a GoFundMe page to raise money to pay for the cost. This is a youngster not educated in the law saying this, quote, I understood why they needed the money for it. It's been like that so often with just not being able to get any of the information that it was really just annoying, honestly, because I'm a student and I can't afford that. So it's just another roadblock that was put in place. You are absolutely correct. The fee, $300, I don't care if it's 20. Normally, if it exceeds XYZ pages, at least in Wisconsin, here at the bunker, you have the right to be charged per page copy. And typically what a government entity will do is double or triple space the, here's single spaced, they'll double or triple space. I got stacks of FOIA returns that from local government entities that did that, because then they can charge you because you exceed the page statute for the end result. It says, based on the district invoice, the total charge is based on the time and effort staff spent working to get the information and copying around 100 pages of documents. And I'm going to tell you, they're probably, like I said just before, 100 double, triple spaced, 100 pages. You have 100 pages of hire, fires, and decisions or disciplinary actions. You got something wrong in your school district, because that was only a two-year span. You have some severe problems with employees and school district administration rules. We, quote unquote, we want to give the real world experience included in this would be doing it the right way. There was an avenue to reach out to our PR department to get probably most of the information that was requested. We just ask that anyone who asks for information does it the proper way, says Superintendent Dale Earl of the Independent School District. The district says the student never ended up reaching out to the PR department. It says if she did, they could have helped and waived the fee. Poppycock. You get stuck with an FOIA under federal statutes. You're going to put every roadblock up you can do. Happens all the time. We spoke to UMKC professor and journalist Steve Krosky, who has been in the student's position many times in his career and says being charged for requests vary by entity and/or end results. He believes this situation can be a learning experience for everybody. Now, that's a libtard, not a patriot or a constitutionalist. This is not a learning. Yes, it can be a learning experience, but I'm going to tell you they're going to be in court, or they should be in court, but you won't find a district attorney that will actually prosecute. Been there, done that. I think for the administration of the district, this is a learning experience for your students. Well, if it's a learning experience for the students, perhaps the social studies class should have filed the FOIA. I'm not a PhD, but I'm going to tell you that if it falls under the rules and guise of a study program by the school, there would be no charges because it's a class curriculum. Oh, novel idea. How smart is that, teacher? So far, the GoFundMe crowd page has raised more than $500, which will go to the request and fee of the requested fee and future requests or fee requests. This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. That's like having your students bring in pennies for the local whatever fund. Statute says XYZ, put it under social studies, file a request as a class curriculum because you need a report at the end. It falls under class curriculum, absolutely, positively. There will not be, obviously, there'll be redactions in the FOIA results, and so be it. That's the way the FOIAs work. Now, English language and intelligent factors of village idiots and court jesters. Because you're elected to a position or appointed, well, this is an elected official, state legislature. Has to do, and I'm going to be very slow and very specific in what I say here. While this state senator, Senator Falkowski in the state of Wisconsin, sent out a letter waving the flag of, oh, I did this. With the end of the 21-22 legislative session, I think it's valuable to look back at the highlights of the last year and a half. With that in mind, I will be discussing a different bill that made it through the process of becoming a law. The process. We talk about that all day long. Finding the process, following the process, changing what you don't like. In 2021, Wisconsin Act 46. There it is, Wisconsin Act 46. It's a law now, authored by this state senator, one of them, Act 46 allows for nurses who are licensed and in good standing in another U.S. state or Canadian territory to practice at a recreational and educational camp in Wisconsin for up to 90 days without having to apply for a temporary nursing license. The rationale is as follows, as stupid as it is. Our rural summer camps allow folks from across the country to come together in the Northwoods, where they are able to enjoy our beautiful outdoors and support our strong tourism economy. These camps have volunteer nurses on call 24/7, oftentimes a camp alumni or a parent. Going through Wisconsin intensive temporary licensure process is a heavy hurdle for these nurses who want to generously volunteer their time for a week or two. Act 46 makes it easier for them to do so without compromising any safety standards. That's the rationale of why she proposed and authored this bill. Act to create 441.115 paragraph parentheses 3 of the statutes relating to temporary practice by registered nurses at camps, providing an exemption from emergency rule procedures and granting rulemaking authority. The people of the state of Wisconsin, represented in Senate and Assembly, do act as follows. Now remember, all day long, I've been talking about the English language and its ability to direct precise actions by the people of or within a state or community. 14 years it took to write this. Notwithstanding 441.06.4, a person may at a recreation education camp licensed under state statutes 97.67-1 practice professional nursing to provide treatment to campers and staff for not more than 90 days in any year without holding a license granted under the subchapter if all of the following apply. Here is where the English language gets thrown in the trash can. And I'll tell you shortly. Number one, the person holds in good standing a license, permit, registration, or certificate granted by another state or territory or by a Canadian province. I'm going to swear, turn the kiddies off. Where the fuck does this have anything to do with a Canadian province? Huh? I'll give you $1 for that one. What the hell is your intelligence, Felkowski? Who the hell wrote this? By a Canadian province or territory. This Constitution says nothing about Canada, its provinces or territories. Not a damn thing. And you're waving the flag of, the American flag. I'm such a conservative Republican. Fuck you, Felkowski. I would never send my child to some camp where a Canadian anything is running it. To provide safety and security or medical aid to my child. Who the hell do you think you are? Canadian territory or province. What the hell does this book have to do with Canada? Let alone that libtard Trudeau. And the English language gets further trashed. That authorizes a person to perform acts that are substantially the same as those performed by a person licensed as a registered nurse under this subchapter. Substantially? Where did you come up with that word? Where? Substantially. Well, because Canada calls heart attack, oh, heartthrob. What the hell are you doing? I'm going to tell you right now. You go watch the mules, 2,000 mules up north, and if that person, that senator, is standing there, you better challenge her on this Act 46. Who wrote this? You have zero comprehension of the English language. Substantially the same. Cut finger, oh, now we'll amputate. Well, that's substantially the same. Speed limit 35 miles an hour. Oh, 50, it's just a suggestion. Who the hell do you think you are? The requirements for the license, permit, registration, or certificate that the person holds under sub 1 are substantially equivalent to the requirements for licensing as a registered nurse under this subchapter. Substantially equivalent. Do you have any idea what a Chicago lawyer can do with this language? Substantially equivalent. Back when I was a first responder, an EMT, looking at the roads that flatlanders would come up on here, our little community had a convicted sexual person of a predator of a minor on our staff in our group. I got told to mind my own fucking business when I challenged that, including at the state level. Well, responders are volunteers. We can't control them. We don't have any control over. Well, you have to train them. You have to teach these people what to do in case of an emergency. You give them bags full of medical supplies. But you have no, I can't control who joins the first responder group. Are you nuts? You wonder why this community and this country is in the shape it's in? Mind your own fucking business. If you know anything about Just Jim, that ain't happening. But you get tired of this shit. This is what goes on in your day-to-day at your state capital. And this is not the only state that this happens in. Wisconsin Act 46. Oh, I'm so proud I co-authored this bill. Substantially equivalent. Oh, man. That just tongue-ties me. How somebody supposedly in a position of authority could even consider putting their name on this English language. Well, yeah, well, there you go. We could have a EMT, a responder, and that's exactly what some of the summer camps do. I got one down the road, a Bible camp. We got called, our little community here, Lake Wish I Be Gone, we got called heathens because we didn't have a church in our community. By a bunch of Chicago lawyers who own property that want to take it off the tax rolls because they as a collective don't want to pay taxes anymore. They want to have a resort. Oh, we'll have some kids. We'll use the same camp counselors that the Bible camp uses. Yugoslavian summer help. Yep, I said it, because that's a fact. We beat them down in court a couple of times on a couple of different issues, of which one I was damn proud to say I was part of bringing to light the information that the county board finally said, oh, you can't do that. That county board didn't even know what the hell the problem was. Wow. The person, I just can't even read this shit because that's what it is. It's beef stew. It ain't steak or tenderloin. It's not good legislation. Not at all, by a long shot. Yeah, Felkowski, I'm calling you out on it. You're a village idiot under the guise of being, oh, I'm a conservative. My ass, you don't know the first thing about being a patriot or a conservative. God. I just can't. I read this the other day and I just flipped. You can tell I flip a lid. Anyway, that's a good spot to end, because if you're not aware of who's in positions of authority, its only power is fleeting. The authority stays. And if this is a second or third term, I will go back in her legislative process and find out what other idiot law she helped write. Wow, I put a nice a weekly newsletter out. I'll guarantee she'd take me off her newsletter email list right now, which she can't do by law. You need to understand, you need to get active. You need to know what's going on in your community and the people that you put in office, because this is the shit they put out. I told you it wasn't a kid-friendly show. I get beside myself when this crap happens. And there is no need for it. I close my show every day, and I'm about ready to get out of this because I can't stand to even think about it anymore. I always say be good to each other. And I agree to disagree. I'm going to tell you, I can't agree to disagree on this one. This is wrong. Needs to be challenged from a legal perspective, strictly from the English language. Substantially equivalent. God, the lists go on and on and on about how to defend or get out of this. Makes my blood boil. Anyway, that's right. He did it. She promoted it. So I guess I got to shut up. And with that, I'm not going to, or am I? No, I am. I'm going to play a Fred Johnson video to get out of here. Again, thanks for joining me. It's just a Just Jim show. Just a thought. But I'm damn right in everything I think about. And with that, here we go. Be good. I'll see you next time. We're going to start doing more shows. I got the audio podcast. We're working on getting that said and done. So you can tune in and listen to the podcast. Same show you're hearing today. Remember, dogs are welcome. People are barely tolerated. And with that, God bless. We'll talk to you next time.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a defender. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to sacrifice everything, his fortune, his sacred honor, even his life, for liberty and something called inalienable rights that he cannot see but knows he cannot live without. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to ride a horse through sleepy towns in the dark of night, sounding the alarm, entreating neighbors to take up arms against an overwhelming force of wicked tyranny. So God made a patriot. God said, I need someone who, even after crushing defeats, rises up and stands tall. Someone who hears the clarion call that these are the times that try men's souls and does not shrink from the trial. Someone who will cross a frozen river in the dead of winter, when all logic and reason says turn back, abandon hope. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who knows of the rise and fall of great nations, who knows of human nature and the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of liberty. I need this man, along with his like-minded brethren, to write an enduring constitution. So God made a patriot. God said, I need a person, one person, who's willing to do whatever it takes, even write a book to confront injustice and spark a movement that would tear apart a people so that chains will rightfully be shattered and a blessed union eventually emerge. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who, with the love of family and for the love of country, will cross a vast ocean and storm a heavily fortified beach. And if he survives, charge through 200 yards of bullets and blood across that merciless beach. And if he survives, scale the towering cliffs. And if he survives, begin the long march to free a continent. And if he survives, return home and, with the same resolute determination, rebuild a nation, and someday be called the greatest generation. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will, without thought of self, invest in schools and scouts and church and community, so that the proposition that all men are created equal remains a beacon to enlighten the world, and that such a beacon shall not perish from the earth. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will have the courage to not give up her seat on a bus and thus force a nation to confront its deepest divisions and heal the wounds and pursue the dream that inspires all hearts. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone strong enough to stand against any enemy, foreign or domestic, that would try to steal the freedom so dearly defended, the rights so righteously upheld, yet gentle enough to help a small child carry a star-spangled flag in a hometown parade. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who will speak the truth to his own leaders, that in order to preserve our great nation, we will not sacrifice the well-being of future generations for the sake of our own. Someone who will tirelessly toil day upon night, no matter the setback, no thought of surrender. Someone who will prayerfully rise every morning to climb the wall as a defender, duly endowed with the honored gift of generations before, while offering a solemn promise to generations ahead. A defender who will ensure that the way of truth and the torch of liberty remain forever lit in this shining city on a hill. So God made a patriot.